Welcome, sports enthusiasts, to Marv on Air, the college-aged run show for sports fans. Really, we just here to talk about sports and really try to keep your day as bright as possible. If you're having a down day, we're here to try to brighten it up. And if you're not, then hopefully you stick around because we do have a few things to say, whether or not we know what we're talking about. I am not the only one on camera, thank God, because I just fucked up that intro. And we have actually pretty good turnout today. Joining me from Ames, Iowa, Joey Mayer and Alex Redden. Boys, we're looking great over there in that CSU and bright pink shirt. How we doing? How we doing, boys?
YOLO. You only live once.
That's
Feeling
accurate.
great, ready to roll.
That is accurate. And then joining us from a mysterious place, because it's unmarked, completely unmarked, Chase Malloy. Chase, how we doing?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Ready to roll.
Good news. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's get right into it. We got a few things we're going to touch on. We are going to have a big segment in line in just a few minutes. But the first thing I want to touch on, guys, Netflix dropping bangers back to back to back. They dropped the Connor Stalions documentary, and obviously, if you've seen Marv on Air before, you know. Okay, I'm trying to get into college football, but it's tough. There's a ton of teams, ton of players. I've got the game. I'm trying to get acquainted, but I'm not as good at it as I am the NFL. Our college correspondent, essentially, is Alex Redbone. So, Alex, I know you've seen the documentary. What's going on in college football right now with this whole Connor Stalions thing? Because I'm confused. I watched it with almost no knowledge of what's going on. Tried to come out with a thought process, kind of be like, hey, here's open-minded approach to it, and this is what I think afterwards. I left it thinking, what the hell? So, break it down for me.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because this has been an investigation that's been ongoing now for a while, and we really haven't heard much beyond rumors. Netflix actually somehow pulled it off and kind of got everyone, especially Stallions, to stay quiet on this. Like, he hasn't done much media outside a few Barstool clips that you saw in the documentary if you watched it. But basically, the whole thing, I'm Team Michigan now, personally. Like, before I was like, oh, they're cheating. This isn't good for the game. This isn't what we want. It turns out everybody's probably cheating in some way, shape, or form. And Ohio State and Ryan Day was salty enough to be like, okay, we're going to have my brother, who owns a private investigating firm, investigate Michigan, see if we can find anything to stick to them, anything at all to get them in trouble so we don't have to play them. That's basically what happened. The whole thing was kind of just interesting. I mean, Connor Stalions, one, what a name. Like, that's a Bond villain name. The dude went to the Naval Academy. He's a captain in the Marine Corps, and his sole job is to steal signals. And his name's Connor Stalions. Like, you couldn't write a better story. You couldn't write a better story for college football. And the whole thing's beautiful. And every team's cheating. Every single one, in some way, shape, or form, has some level of NCAA violation. And I don't think Michigan should be punished. I don't think Harbaugh should be punished. They suspended Stalions for like 3 years or whatever. Can't coach in college, whatever. But free Connor Stalions, free Michigan. Everyone's cheating. Everyone needs to get over it. Ohio State just needs to deal with it.
Well, and that was the big thing when I was watching it, because this was a very, very interesting story, and they touched on this in the kind of the whole documentary, was that what made it interesting is it was ongoing, right? That kind of as the season was going, the NCAA was jumping on it, and they wanted to find out basically what was going on, but also how could they keep the integrity of the game alive, right? They didn't want to discredit, well, I'm sure they did on some level, but Michigan's successes they wanted to make sure were valid. And getting to the end of it, I was like, oh, they did tack something on? I didn't even hear that they ended up tacking something on to Connor Stalions with that 3-year deal. And the big question for everybody was, from what I've seen online, did Harbaugh know or not? And Joey, have you seen it? Do you know what's going on here? Or have you been keeping up enough to know, did Harbaugh know and assign these projects, these in-depth, what were they called, like some sort of advanced scouting assignments to Connor Stalions? Or do you think Harbaugh was completely focused on Blake McCorum, JJ McCarthy, the team? If you've seen any clips of Harbaugh, the team, and he's just a Michigan man at heart, or was he, hey, do you want to just send some stuff out there, send these tickets out, and let's see if we can get some signs.
Well, Harbaugh has a picture with him, and Harbaugh even gave him a football, like a game football, for like I think it was the Ohio or no, which game was it? It
Iowa.
was
Iowa game.
The Iowa game. He got a football. Well, and he has a picture with him. He's telling him, "Hey, don't get a big head. Don't get a big head." Well, what's that all about, buddy? But hey, honestly though, I do love it though. He's honestly just a war hero. He's out there. He figured it out, and honestly, people came to him because he was so good at it. What he was doing.
And it seems like he went extremely in depth with all of the camera and the this and the this and the this and the this. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're doing whatever. And he had it all in a whole, like basically offensive play, those sheets that they have on the sideline. He was ready to roll, more prepared than anybody is what it seems. And you mentioned Iowa. Great segue. Why I brought Chase onto the screen here. Chase, pretty sure you're an Iowa fan. Could be an Iowa State fan. We have yet to potentially sway you. But what were your thoughts on hearing that, maybe the last 2 years of Michigan football could be potentially tainted? Could Iowa have been better than Michigan the last 2 years if it weren't for this whole we know that's not true, but if it weren't for this whole sign-stealing deal?
Well, I don't think Iowa would be better than Michigan. I don't discredit the championship at all. I just find it interesting. All that advanced scouting stuff, he claims. I mean, if you looked at the interview the NCAA did with him, he was kept pretty quiet. His lawyers wouldn't let him say much. They showed it in the documentary. But pretty much he just claimed he doesn't recall, like, being at the Central Michigan sideline when it was pretty obviously him. I mean, you saw Dave Portnoy say Connor told him that he was on the sideline there. But no, it did kind of tick me off that he got the game ball for Iowa. Iowa's offense isn't super, like, not predictable. We're going to run the football and pass it to our tight ends. I could probably tell you what they're going to run at certain times. I think it's pretty cool
Jay's
how he
expert.
put together – no. But Connor Stalions was just this, like, psychopath that just fixated on stealing signs. And whether he was using game footage he got from people that he sent to games through tickets and how he was buying all those tickets, I don't think we'll ever find out. It could come up later on this year. I know Moore's been getting, like, he had text message going back with Stallions and stuff. But, I mean, just credit to him for finding the loophole in the whole college scheme. And maybe it helped Michigan, maybe not. I think Harbaugh probably did know about it because on the sideline, Stallions is a couple guys down, and you see Harbaugh look over like, what should we do here? Look at him. He was doing this for both offensive and defensive, I believe, which is kind of insane.
He was unbelievable. He was doing it at a level that nobody had ever seen, and that's what kind of he was mentioning he was like, "Oh, the team," and then he would go on to be like, "Yeah, I'm the best play call decipherer in the history of play call deciphering." And I was like, "Okay, let's pick a side here." But that was what was interesting was that he, the documentary really broke down how this is something that every single person does. I think the Arkansas head coach his name slips my mind right now, but he kind of came out and said, "Yeah, literally every single team does this," and they talked about the underground kind of community of play call decipherers and sign decipherers or whatever they want to call themselves. And the question I had, and maybe one of you three can answer this for me, is what advantage did he gain from this potential rule violation of being on the sideline of that Central Michigan game or being or sending others out to get more game footage or coach footage while they were playing? Because it seems to me like that they were all getting this anyways. They were getting it from other coaches, getting it from insiders in other buildings. They were getting it from not only film, but also broadcast copies of games. It feels to me like they had, like, was it the difference between 98% of the play calls and 100? Was that enough of a gain for them to be like, hey, yeah, we're going to break some of the rules here, and this is what's going to get us over the edge? Because then when you take away that, let's say it's a 2% gain, 2% edge, they still won the national championship without Stallions, without Harbaugh in their final 3 games. That is what's confusing to me, is why go this extra mile? Why risk not only the integrity of Michigan, but obviously your potential future as a coach or whatever, because he said he wanted to be the coach of Michigan. Took a very odd route to get there. But, I mean, hey, everyone has their own thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what was the advantage here? Redden, I want to hear from you first. I feel like you will have a very strong opinion on this.
I mean, to me, so my whole thing with this whole thing is, did Harbaugh know that Stalions was deciphering signals? Absolutely. But if
Yes,
you walk
every team
into
has
any
that.
college football in America right now, that guy is on staff. There's Connor Stalions all over the country, every single program. The difference is, how extreme is this guy, one, and how good is he? Stalions was obviously very good. He also wrote a manifesto about Michigan. They touched on that in the documentary, just how fanatic he is about Michigan. My thing is, did Harbaugh know he's deciphering signals? Yes. Did Harbaugh tell him to potentially wear recording glasses and sneak onto the Central Michigan sideline to video Michigan State? I don't think so. But what I do know is that every single team has one, and I think Stalions was just that crazy of a Michigan fan that he was like, listen, I'm already like 99.9% sure I can decipher any signal. But he showed it how like early on he made this play sheet and all that stuff, right? I think he got bored. I think he was like, listen, I've kind of already cracked all the codes. How can I potentially get better? Because he's a Marine, he's this crazy Michigan fan. Oh, excuse me.
Choking you up, damn.
He's like, how can I get better? So he's like, oh, we'll just go double check. My guess is he probably videotaped like the week in advance as like a double check kind of measurement, like make sure everything is the way he thinks it's going to be. So I don't think Harbaugh knew about it. I think he's just that crazy that he was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And he decided to go out and do it. And did it go against the advanced scouting rule where you're not allowed to go in person to record the other team and watch the other team? Yeah, he broke that rule, but you can't convince me that he's the only one.
Yeah, well, and that was kind of the vibes I got. No, I'll come back to you in a second, but the way that the whole thing was phrased, because honest to God, I did not know. I knew this was happening. I didn't know enough about this. I didn't know the ins, the outs. I heard a little bit about this and that, the other thing, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. So I went in with an open mind, and more than a football kind of, hey, this is what I think about everything, I landed on, this guy should be in a serial killer documentary. This guy's fucking insane. Like, honestly, I've never heard of someone that dedicated to something that's like, he was barely on the at some point in that documentary, they were like, yeah, low-level Michigan football coach. Like, he was not making, I don't feel like a ton of money. They talked about him sleeping in his car for 3 years when he was an intern. They talked about him, like, if he were to fly all these people out, it would be literally, like, his whole paycheck. It's not like he's some higher up. Like, it was just such a, to me, like, a just fan-driven craze, like, I need to be the guy that the reason that this Michigan team wins. And they talked about, the team. Like, I'm going to keep fucking saying that. But to me, it was just, it felt like very psycho-esque. I don't know. And that was probably what it was. You're probably right. I honestly wonder if he did just kind of be like, yeah, it's not enough for me to kill 15 people in a week anymore. I got to start hiding them in plain sight and see if the cops will catch on to me. Like the serial killers that are really good, they get bored of it. And that's, I wonder if that's exactly what happened. Joey, do you think if you were on the sideline there, if you were, excuse me, we're still getting used to this whole tech thing. If you were on the sideline, would you be better at deciphering signals, do you think? Or is it, do you think, more of almost an ego check for him where he's like, could I get away with sneaking on the Central Michigan sideline?
No, honestly, I think it's like, it's just, I love it. It's like the whole, like, the war concept is like espionage and everything. It's awesome. And like, if you're not doing it, this is the playing field. This is the even playing field, is doing it. And if you're not doing it, then you're losing. And honestly, it's the best thing ever, because how do you not notice this guy if like he's in? How do you not notice somebody's face that is on your team and he is taking signals from your own team? Like, what's going on there?
Well, and I wonder if part of it is that they know everyone's stealing everyone's signals and maybe they just thought he was getting lucky. I don't know. I agree with you, though, 100%. And you mentioned there, everyone on the same playing field, right? Yeah, everyone, if you're not stealing signs, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. You're not on the same level. This is where I'm going to bring in Chase. We'll wrap this up here, this whole story, because it is basically told in the documentary. And if you want to go check it out, go to Netflix. Go to, it's Untold Sign Stealer, I think. Chase, has Iowa essentially just never stolen signals in their entire life, and they just recruit the best defensive players ever? They're unable to score points because they don't steal signs. This is the Iowa way. Hey, we want to fucking win it on our terms. Okay, we want to be the better team. They go up, put up 9 points. Sure, They let up a safety, but guess what? You only need 3 points to win in a 2-0 game. So is that what's going on in Iowa? Because obviously Iowa State been putting up more points. I'm a little concerned. Maybe we get under a little investigation from the NCAA compared to Iowa.
My thought would be is maybe we're really good at stealing the offensive signs, and we just suck at hiding our own. Everyone can just decipher ours because our offense not been able to do much.
Not a bad call.
Or maybe it's just a scheme situation. But no, I don't think it's that we don't steal signs. I'm sure we have someone on the sideline that's doing the same thing they're doing, just maybe not sending people out to games, recording on their cell phones, and then getting sent that over text. I mean, that's what the claim is that Stalions was doing, is sending people out to games, buying all these tickets that he claimed, oh, I was on the Michigan staff, so I can't go to games, so I just resell these tickets I have. Why do you have the tickets in the first place? You know Michigan's playing Saturday. What are we doing here? Is my thought, but
he was talking about making money off the tickets. Maybe he's just a hustler. Hey, I don't know.
Hey, he was probably pretty broke, so he's living out of his car. Got to make money somehow. The interesting thing I found is that Michigan just completely let him take the blame for everything. Just said, resign, get out of here, go undercover, don't talk to anyone, no media.
No, Michigan definitely threw him under the bus. And honestly, from my kind of outsider point of view, not having any association to Michigan or Connor Stalions, I was like, hey, you know what? If you're Michigan here, great play. Do not invalidate the national championship if you do go on to win it, because if they kind of try to keep him alive, they might just totally get that stripped from him, and it sounds like now it will just be a asterisk on that, which is it ethical? No, probably not, honestly, if they told him to do this. But I do think from the university standpoint, just from an outsider viewing in, like, okay, good play. You got to keep that national championship. I mean, that was why you're doing it in the first place, right? Like, that was the ultimate goal. And I did want to say, I loved his comment about the aunt buying you socks. You're like, hey, I already have these. I don't really need these. Thank you. Like, great way to frame it. From that point on, I was like, hey, Connor Stalions actually a complete dog. Now, kind of a business decision by Michigan there to kind of throw him under the bus. Let's jump right into the NFL. We got a few things we're going to touch on really quickly before we end up going into our segment, which I'm very excited for. But the NFL is business, right? We got to make these decisions. Decisions were made. Cut day was, I think, Monday at like 2 o'clock or something like that. And then today teams started signing players to their roster. This was big. There was movement. There was players cut that we didn't think would be cut. It was a lot of fun. I hope it's over because Bailey Zappi has been signed to the Chiefs. I can't stand this shit, okay? The only bright side is that potentially Patrick Mahomes will be taken down and we won't have to see him anymore because Bailey Zappi's best quarterback in the entire NFL. I don't think you three have an NFL team. Do you have any alliance? Do you care about what's going on at the cut line here?
Not at all, no.
Crickets, yep, that's what I figured.
Hiking.
Redden, tell me your thoughts on Russ Wilson being named the starter in Pittsburgh, and then Mike Tomlin coming out later to say that, hey, teams better be ready for a Justin Fields package. Are they just going to run a 1-2 there? We know if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. Is Pittsburgh kind of owning that and saying, hey, you know what? We don't have anything here. We're just going to throw as many dice at you and hope you can't catch them all? Or are they actually trying to harness the power of Russell Wilson's unlimited power and then try to touch in on the rookie there? Or well, I guess he's not a rookie anymore. He's been in the league a few years. But the young buck, and try to get him ready to take on full responsibility in a year or two.
Yeah, I think they realized that they got Justin Fields and they were like, well, this guy's terrible. So we're going to pretty much just have to keep him on our bench for a while. We'll pretend that we didn't get completely scammed and that, oh, yeah, we'll find some value for him. But in reality, he's going to be out of the league in 2 to 3 years and never play again. So will Russell Wilson be good? I don't know. It's a Mike Tomlin coach team, so they'll find a way to win minimum 8 to 9 games like always and be a possible wild card team, but maybe not make it. And if they do make it, they get blown out in the first round. So it really doesn't matter what goes on in Pittsburgh, to be honest, because Mike Tomlin is only going to win 8 to 10 games, regardless of who's on his team.
9 to 11, because 9 is a winning season.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
regardless,
9 and
they're
8.
not going to win more than 12 games, and they're not going to lose more than 7.
No, they will definitely be on that 9.
They win.
Yeah, 9
They're
to
not going to win more than 12, and they're not going to win more than 7. They're going to be in that range like always, and Mike Tomlin is probably one of the greatest coaches of all time for it.
and probably realistically the best at just being over 500. I mean, he won a Super Bowl, but he is just kind of, I mean, credit to him.
500 God.
That's impressive. It really is. And
Especially in that division now for the last like 2-3 years.
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
Baltimore, Cincy, they've been tough.
They have been tough, and honestly, there's a couple of division switch-ups going on. Good fucking God, I forgot to unplug the camera. Sorry, viewers on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, we will have this posted on YouTube. There will be videos coming out. Apparently, my camera is just screwing up. But hey, we made it this far. I'm definitely glad we made it this far. And while we're here, shameless plug, follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X or whatever it is. I'll put the stuff on screen here. Totally lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot. Joey, I want to ask you this question. On contracts in the NFL right now, it seems like we're getting into a bit of an NBA headspace where contracts don't mean shit. You sign a 5-year deal, 2.5 years in, you're like, yeah, I actually think I want more money. Oh, surprise. Who doesn't want more fucking money? All right? We're doing this for free right now. We want more fucking money. Everybody wants more money. So what are your thoughts on basically the current landscape of the NFL contract situation? Because you got guys like Jamar with, I think, how many years does he have left? 2 or 3?
Yeah, in the practice with street clothes, just
yeah, he just doesn't come in practice. Ayuk, Trent Williams. I mean, some of these guys for sure definitely deserve more money. Ayuk, one of the best receivers in the NFL, in my opinion. I know certain other entities will not agree with that, but sure, he deserves more money, but he signed the contract for what it's worth. Is that worth nothing now? That's what I'm confused on.
And like one of the biggest things too right now, Trent Williams. What's going on there in the 49ers, San Francisco? Trent Williams hasn't signed yet. He's trying to get paid. I mean, is he just going to sit out in the San Francisco for the rest of the season or what?
Well, and that's kind of what happened with Nick Bosa, right?
Holdout that he had.
Yeah, he didn't end up playing. He played week 1, but he played not very good. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen. The only one of all the contract negotiations going on that I side with the player here, and I'm not necessarily, whatever, but is Trent, because he is like one of the top 2, and he's paid like 4th or 5th. I mean, it is what it is. I think he's pretty close.
I know. He is scary, man. And I would not want to challenge. If I had to talk about his contract with him, whatever number he said, I'd be like, yes, sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
No, for real. He's so good. But Brandon Ayuk, on the other hand, I know Joey would just be, hey.
Yeah, but Brandon Ayuk, over there. He's asking for like
30-something million
wide receiver money. Ayuk, you're good. You're a solid receiver, but you're no CeeDee Lamb or JJ or Jettis.
See, I disagree. I think he's unbelievable, but it could be a product of the system. I could be completely wrong on that. That's just where I stand on it. And honestly, I'm just going to cut it off there. There's not enough NFL talk right now. We are excited for the NFL season. We cannot wait. We're going to be doing a breakdown next week of all the divisions, maybe potential division winners. We're going to sort out how exactly we're going to format that. We can't wait to dive into the NFL every single week. But right now, it's a bunch of bullshit headlines. I just talked about contracts for like 5 minutes.
Ayuk was
none
at
of us.
By the way.
He was at practice?
Wasn't.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. He walked off with no shoulder pads. I saw that. It's what the hell's going on? Chase, do you want to chime in or no? I haven't asked you about this before.
I mean, the salary cap in the NFL is fake anyway, so I'd say just sign everyone and then deal with it later. The Saints have proved this year after year they're always over salary cap. They somehow get under it and still go 9-8. So,
also, I'm pissed off at you for not saying your team's the Saints after I just asked publicly, "Hey, does anyone have teams here?" And then Chase like, "Nah, fuck this guy, fuck this guy."
Yep.
Bullshit.
Proud Saints fan.
All right, Redden, I'm going to turn this over to you for a second. Will you please break down our segment, the name, what we're going to be doing, and what should the viewers look forward to from this first Marv on Air 45.6 run at Being a Sports Show segment?
Yeah, I did not know I was supposed to have a name for this segment. So the name is Segment 1. Basically, we're just going to – I wouldn't even call it a segment much. we're just going over who we think, now that it's Power 4, rest in peace of the Pac-12, who we think is going to come out of each conference for college football here, if there's any sleeper teams we like, maybe if there's a team you think that's going to be better than most people think, or if there's a team that a lot of people are really high on and you're kind of low on, anything like that, then maybe, shout out a couple your Heisman hopefuls, maybe a future or two on a national champion, just kind of whatever you feel. Anything college football preview, getting ready to roll here before week 1 kicks off here in 48 hours.
I am so pumped for college football to be back. Holy shit. We waited so long.
Football's
so long.
back.
Was this the longest offseason of all fucking time? I swear to God. It lasted
I know,
5
right?
lifetimes.
We passed by like a black hole and just time just warped.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was not fun at all. I can't wait to be up drinking beers at 11:55 a.m. betting on games. Just, I have no idea what's going on, but hey, Georgia Tech over Florida State, bam, cash. Then all of a sudden you have the best Saturday of your entire fucking life. Let's jump into it with Chase. We're going to do, let's do all the Big Ten champs first, because Chase is a big Iowa fan here. Who you got coming out of the Big Ten into this new 12-team college football playoff?
I think the Big Ten will be pretty chalk. I mean, my picks anyway. I think it's Ohio State year to win it. I think it's championship or bust for them. Really, they brought in a ton of guys, built up this great roster, and they're expecting to win it. With Michigan having a down year this year, probably with all this stuff that are going through,
Connor
obviously.
Stalions.
Yeah, no sign stealing anymore for them. They're not. I don't think they will be in it. Penn State could get sneaky, but other than those top 3, I don't think there's going to be much there.
Oregon.
Yeah,
Well,
Oregon.
Oregon's right there.
Oregon. Give me Oregon.
Oregon's a solid pick.
Oregon's going to show the Big Ten what they lost. They just, their whole family just died, and they're coming for vengeance, and they're gonna wreak havoc on the Big Ten.
They voluntarily left the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah. Well, they came to run the show, and that's who I have. Oregon over OSU. You're right. Pretty chalk. But, hey, first year in the Big Ten, just coming in bulldozing. They're going to win them all. They're going to win every single game, and then we'll get in a national title, championship, whatever you want to call it, in just a minute. I'll let Redden kind of heed that storm or whatever. There's a scene with heed, isn't there?
Yeah, you nailed that.
Heed the something? Heed the... I don't know. The traffic? I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know much. I don't know much, and there's a reason you shouldn't listen to a single one of my picks. But, Joey, you are kind of our betting connoisseur here. So you're going Oregon in the Big Ten. Redden, did you want to go Oregon as well?
I think Ohio State beats Oregon in the Big Ten championship. I think both are undefeated going into it. I guess I don't want to crown Oregon yet. I'm like, it's still your first year. Let's settle down. You can win it next year, but your first year, it's still the Big Ten. You're the new guys. You don't get to win it yet, in my books.
Reddit, it's funny that you say that it's Ohio State versus
Oregon,
but it's gonna be Oregon versus Illinois.
What's wild take?
Jeez, what did you want? I saw the hand.
Maybe it was like Big Ten West, and the Pac-12 teams were just like not there.
I saw the hand.
Well, I just want to comment that it is impossible for Ohio State and Oregon to be both undefeated in the Big Ten championship because they play each other in regular season. But
10-12.
You've never heard of a tie?
Potentially
There's new tie rules in college football.
Potentially the best day for college football in the history of college football. 10-12. We got Oregon, Ohio State. We got like 7 other games that are going to be top of they're like A-listers. And also, most popular date for weddings this year. So pray for those that have to attend a wedding on 10-12 this year. If I were invited, it is per the knot, which is like the wedding website, apparently. I don't know. But
is your wedding the 12th, Chase, or is yours the next weekend?
Yeah, Chase, I think you're contributing to that.
No.
You're calling it off?
Yep, called off the weddings.
Wow.
Wow. Was it your decision or hers?
Broken live. Marv on air.
It was hers. It was hers.
Wow. Well, this is brutal. I'm going to have to cut this part.
Yeah, we're going to have to dump that. Jam.
So the Big 12.
Let's move on.
Yeah, Big 12. Chase, what are you feeling about the Big 12 there? Yeah. Yeah, real fake conference.
Whatever. Big 12, that's a tough one. There's like 7 teams I think that could win it. I think everyone's going to kind of beat up on each other. I think believe it or not, I think Iowa State could find a way to win this conference.
Wow.
I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I don't think they'll beat Iowa, but they can lose to Iowa and still win this Big 12, not in conference, obviously. I think Kansas State's got a good shot at it, but those are my two probably picks. Iowa State being my sleeper.
I think this is the only thing I know about college football is Iowa State. And usually it's just that we stink. We are not a good team, okay? And I understand that, and I love watching football and Jack Trice. But realistically, not a title contender. That one year we went to the Big 12 championship was wild, and then Brock Purdy realized, oh, Iowa State shouldn't be here. Let me just throw 3 picks real quick. Like, just that we don't belong in big games. That's just not how it is. But the way the Big 12 is set up right now, without an Oklahoma, without a Texas, I have Iowa State, granted, losing, but in the Big 12 championship, and they lose to Utah. I don't know if anyone else here has Utah. They are the gambling favorites. Joey, you're the gambling savant there. I think I've already said that exact phrase, so really pulling out of my bag of tricks.
Yeah, I know the skills. All I do is gamble. I'm savant.
Did you go with the gambling favorite there?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Utah. They just look like amazing. I think they're gonna be the Big 12 champs. I also won just out of spite. Colorado. I don't even see them being
They're gonna be
over
terrible.
500.
They're gonna be one of the worst teams in college.
So yeah, I honestly think that UCF will do better than them.
I agree. Fire Dion.
Redden, is the CSU Colorado game happening this year?
Yeah, week 3.
Okay, see, because Redden, show the shirt. What do we got on?
Just
We
a
got-
Colorado State hoodie, just something casual.
And when was that purchased, potentially?
After Nebraska beat Colorado, and I was mad, so I was like, I just need Colorado to lose, so I'm just gonna start buying apparel of the teams they play. And we got a Colorado State hoodie out of it.
And it didn't quite work that week. Did you?
It
kinda
was
bail?
close. It was
close. Was close.
Very
Great
close.
game.
Phenomenal game. Got over at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. Do you have anyone out of the Big 12 as a sleeper, or are you going pretty much Utah over, what would that be? Kansas State, I think, is the second betting favorite.
Yeah, Iowa State just isn't quite good enough. Okie State's interesting just because they're, I don't know, I'm a big Mike Gundy fan. Seems like a cool guy. But outside of the top, 3, I don't really see anyone else getting in.
I got a frisky Arizona.
Yeah, who's their coach? Something Fish, Jed Fish, maybe? Regardless, good coach, but I just don't. I see the Big 12 going chalk. I think it's going to be Utah, K-State.
I think the most interesting thing about this thing is, it feels like we're mixing oil with water right now in this, whole
conference.
Yeah, it's just it's not gonna blend.
Arizona State in the Big 12, that's odd.
Yeah,
Wild.
That feels like a 2014 college football game, and I'm customizing my conferences, and I just go, hey, let's throw Arizona State in there.
I do love the idea of Arizona State having to come to Ames at the end of November. That's kind of just funny.
It's hilarious because these teams are going to be playing in potentially new situations. I mean, look at Farmageddon last year. That was one of the most awesome games probably of the year. I mean, obviously a biased Iowa State fan saying that, but that was tons of snow. Abu Sama made a name for himself. Shout out Abu Sama for wanting to come on the show potentially, but a little bit too busy. Totally get it. Abu. Looking over at the SEC here, I will go pretty chalk. Georgia over LSU. LSU might be a bit of a sneak in there. I think Ole Miss or potentially it was Ole Miss the second, and then Alabama was in 3 or something like that. I went LSU just because I wanted to be a little bit different. I have absolutely no idea what's going on down there. I know Baton Rouge is a tough place to play. I know Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson went there. But outside of that, I really just picked a different team. And I think Georgia's going to steamroll everyone. I think they're going to come back to kill this year. I think they were the team, in my opinion, last year that had way more right to be upset after getting snubbed out of the college football playoff. Obviously, they couldn't because Florida State was undefeated. And everyone knew where they were coming from, not necessarily incorrect in that statement. But how do you lose in the SEC championship and then you're just booted? I just felt like they totally got screwed over. So they might come in this year with just we are not taking any shit. And they're going to make the playoff no matter what. But I think that they're going to be gunning for that SEC title after they lost it last year.
I'm low on Georgia this year.
Yep.
I think that they're going to be an incredibly talented football team and maybe even win the Natty. But in terms of the SEC, their schedule does not fare well for them to make the SEC championship.
What was that?
They're going to be like an
What do
8 or
you
9
mean?
seed coming into the college football playoff. But I don't see them making the SEC championship game. You can't win the SEC without making it to the championship game. Little known fact there, Chase.
Give me Missouri. I want Missouri winning that thing. I want them to just.
No, their coach is weird.
No, they suck.
Okay.
Actually, Missouri was a weird one to me because they kept people kept talking about Missouri. What makes them good, Joe? What's the deal? What's the
They
deal
played
down there?
nobody last year. They just played nobody and ended up like having a pretty good record.
I think Missouri.
Sounds like
Did they
Iowa.
still have that same quarterback or what?
It was a running back who was kind of their guy.
I
And I think
couldn't
They,
tell you.
they have a good receiver.
Well, good for them. That's the entire SEC.
Yeah, I feel like if
Well,
we're
him
grabbing
He's a beast. He's really good at college football. I know that.
if we're grabbing at straws to find out who Missouri has, I'm not taking them to go to the championship game. I don't know what to tell you. That's just how it goes. Chase, are you looking up this receiver right now? I see you typing away.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I also know the head coach for Arizona. If you'd like me to give you that, it's not who Ren said.
Who is it then?
Brent Brennan. I believe
Anybody
it was a new
named-
bringing.
Anybody
Look up
named
Fit.
Brent?
Where'd he go?
2 first names. What is happening there?
No, I can't find this guy. I don't know his name.
Yeah, so he doesn't exist. Anybody named Brent, absolute legend. I might take ASU to win it all. Our last, we've only got 4 this year. Only 4 of the major
I was-
5.
Wait.
It is
Wait.
Jed Fish
Can we talk about Texas real quick?
last year.
What do we think about Texas and that?
Yeah,
I'm just
Texas
gonna
second favorite.
Win
For the
3-5 games.
I have them in my championship. Alabama, Texas, SEC championship.
Wow.
No,
Georgia,
Yeah.
Ole Miss. Ole
I
Miss
like that a
pulls
lot
off
more.
the upset.
Ole Miss
All
just
right, let's.
Lane
I'm
Kiffin
gonna
ain't
write
it.
these down on my whiteboard.
Do it.
Like your
Write down
Pinterest board.
Redens.
You're gonna manifest these.
Yeah, no.
But Texas, Alabama is not a crazy pick.
No, I'm not high on Georgia. Okay, Georgia's gonna stink this year. They're probably gonna win the national title, but they are gonna
Yeah.
We were
stink.
talking about who's going to be conference champs. Georgia's schedule is insane. They play like 7 ranked teams. They're going to slip up at least twice.
Doesn't Florida play a
True.
ton of really good teams this year too?
They have the hardest schedule in football.
Give me the game.
Florida.
Florida just plays everyone.
Yes.
I think they go
Unbelievable.
like 2 Washington, 2 Ohio State, at home against Bama, 2 Georgia. Yeah, I don't know. I just made that up. But regardless, they have a really tough schedule.
Yeah, rest in peace, Gators. Damn. And they are in the ACC, right? Or no, they're in the SEC.
Now they're SEC.
Well, you know who is in the ACC? Miami. Okay, Miami's in the ACC. This is our last conference to talk about. Unfortunately, we don't have all 5. So I'm taking Clemson over Miami in the ACC championship. I think that's pretty much chalk. I think Miami. Last I checked, I think it was Florida State at 1, and then Clemson, Miami at 2-3. I don't know how Florida State could still be at 1. That might be outdated because they lost that Week 0 game to Georgia Tech. And honestly, Georgia Tech looked really good. But that's the same thing we do in the NFL season every single year. Are the Bears really good, or do the Pats stink? Okay, it's one or the other. Was Georgia Tech really fucking good, or did Florida State actually suck without Jordan Travis? I don't know what the case is exactly, so I left Georgia Tech out of it. I wanted to put them in the style game. I did not. Obviously, then, therefore, left Florida State out of this game, went Clemson, and I don't have it written down, but Miami. Chase, are you going pretty much chalk there, or do you think Florida State can bounce back and potentially get back into this game?
Florida State is going to be awful this year. DJ Ukulele is a joke. He is terrible. He had 1 good game at Clemson. He hasn't been anything since. I think Florida State is not getting anywhere close. They're the 4th favorite now. I think Clemson runs away with it. I think they're going to have a really good year this year, actually. Make a run in the college football playoff prior to the semis where they get beat.
The ACC
Joseph?
is just really like the ugly quadruplet. It's just like
It
there's
is.
3 hot. There's 3 hot like of the triplets, I guess. 3 of the quadruplets, and then you have the ACC. It's just the ugly one that just gets like pushed aside. Because I mean, the only team I like here is Virginia Tech. Just let's have a couple David versus Goliath matches, and let's have some upsets. Virginia Tech. I just want to see that.
Go Pokes, right? Isn't it Pokes?
No, that's
Yeah, I was gonna say-
Oklahoma State. You're thinking of the Virginia Tech Hokies.
Yeah,
Hokies. Okay, I wanted to go there, but all I could think of was hoagies. Thought maybe not, named after a sandwich. Didn't know if my English was maybe messed up. Saw a video today on like pear versus bear versus here versus herd. Very weird English language. Potentially got a little bit mixed up there. My bad. Okay, go Hokies.
Go Hokies. What happened to Tulane? Where's Tulane at? Can we get in the Big 12?
They're in New Orleans.
I heard UConn and Gonzaga might be coming to the Big 12 actually in the next couple years.
Gonzaga?
Gonzaga won't.
Oh my gosh,
never
no, I do not want to play
UConn,
Gonzaga
they won't
in
either.
basketball. Oh my gosh.
There's
Oh,
talks.
really?
There's
I
talks.
love God.
The team in the ACC I'm really high on is SMU, to be honest with you.
Ooh. I saw their name, thought, hey, that looks like a cool little acronym. Did not know anything about their team, decided not to pick them. Why would you go with SMU there, Red?
Well, there's Southern Methodist University. If we had our chief Texas correspondent, Hunter, on, he'd be able to tell you that SMU is the rich college down there.
Texas correspondent Hunter will be joining us in just a little bit as soon as we kick
perfect.
that guy off. See you, Chase, in just a few minutes. Don't worry, you can have your time to shine in just you got a few minutes left. But back to SMU. Thank you, Red.
Regardless, SMU, very, very wealthy school, very, very wealthy alumni base. And apparently they brought in a ton of dudes in the transfer portal, and they were pretty much just like, hey, we have all this oil money. You can just have it. Just come play football for us. So apparently SMU got a bunch of dudes, and in recruiting, they've just been like, everyone was like, oh, Alabama and Ohio State, they're just going to buy players. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but so is everyone else. SMU is just the Saudi public investment fund, but of American guys in cowboy hats. Like, they will just buy people. Like, they'll just be like, 100 mil? Does that work? Like, I know you're a 3-star, but, like, we can give you a little more if you want. We can fit you into the budget. SMU is just going to buy players. I think they're going to be really, really good until the NIL rules change, just because they're just going to buy people.
That's Chase, why isn't Iowa doing that? What are we doing? Isn't Iowa, I mean, I feel like Iowa's supposed to be this really good school. They get all this attention for the wave at the Children's Hospital. Kudos to them for that. But really on the field, everything has been lackluster. And I shouldn't talk too much shit because we will have a few Iowa players on the program. So the reason I am is because I'm an Iowa State fan, right? Obviously, Chase, Iowa fan. We do have some positive words for Iowa. But why isn't Iowa just buying everybody? Does this go back to that whole not doing the sign stealing and just being honest to God football through and through?
No, I just don't think we have the NIL funds to compete with the bigger schools that probably have more money. But I don't know. Maybe we need to get some donors in there to boost us up a little bit. I just think we just can't get the guys in. But no excuses. Got to come. Football's played on the field, not on the paper. So
it's true.
George Kittle's not going to donate crap to Iowa. He's going to donate to Iowa State.
Yeah, you will. Damn straight. Good shit, Joey.
Where the fuck is that coming from?
No, it's a fact. It's a fact.
New TEU is Iowa State with Charlie Kohler.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's where we start. He's ground zero.
Rocco Beck, going to be unbelievable this year. Like I was saying, I only know Iowa State. I've been watching their interviews. Holy shit, look out for Iowa State, probably a national title contender. If they do go for the national title, however, they would sneak in probably at that 12-11 seed. We're looking at this new 12-team playoff. Chase, before I kick you off, as aforementioned prior to this previously, who do you have potentially sneaking into this playoff? Do you have any Heisman lookouts? I know you kind of didn't love DJ Ungalolele there, but do you have it? It's a new first year of the 12-team playoff. What are we looking at here? Do we have any sleepers, or is this pretty much just chalk and Notre Dame sneaks in at 5 because once you're outside of the top 4 conference championship winners, it's all every man for themselves and everyone wants Notre Dame in the playoff for some reason? Or do you potentially have maybe Troy sneaking in, maybe Sam Houston sneaking in?
The only team I could see sneaking in is 12-0 Liberty. They got a pretty weak schedule. They're always pretty solid for their conference that they're in. I don't even know what conference they're in, but they always have a pretty good record. So I think they could sneak into the 12th spot. They won't get anything higher than that just due to not being in the Power 5. That's just kind of how it's going to be anymore. But that's what's nice about the 12 team is teams like Liberty can sneak in if they have a great season. Undefeated UCF will get into the playoff. You control your own destiny. Your schedule's weak, but I mean, you go undefeated, you got to get thrown in that 12-11 spot. So,
how excited are you for the season, though? Huh? It's gonna be a great season.
Very. I'm very high on Iowa this year. Being an Iowa fan, I might be a little biased, but I think defense is going to stay around the same. We're going to be pretty dominant there. Offense, hoping just some improvement. If we get some improvement this year, it's going to be first year under new OC. Got a lot of schemes to learn. I'm sure they're learning them currently in camp. They just got done with camp last week, I believe. But we're going to see playing Illinois State week 1. We got to put up some points. We got to show it we're here. We can contend. I think the floor for us is probably like an 8-4 season, and then I think 11-1 is attainable. And
You play nobodies.
College football. Whatever. Keep talking, dude. When we're in the college football playoff and you're not, it'll be fine.
Oh my gosh! I just went 11-1 versus Northwestern Illinois. Purdue,
we don't control who we play. We go out there and win games.
Who else? Can I think of that's crappy?
As long as
there's
no fair catch signals called on us this year,
I wish you guys would
look out.
Upset Iowa, because it's not an upset. It's just scoring.
Just a win. Just a win.
Hey, rent free, fellas. Rent free.
I'll never say I'll root for Iowa. I'll never root for Iowa, but I will potentially root for a few players on Iowa. We got a few guys joining the program in just a few weeks. Very excited to hear what they have to say about the ins, the outs, the new look of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and how they are going to appease fans such as Chase Malloy. Chase, thank you so much for coming on. We do really appreciate you. Chase, for viewers that are going to be seeing this, which might be about 7 of you, shout out mom and dad, and probably Chase's mom, because he's never been on anything in media in his entire life except for hammer, 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 and he ended up losing that bet. Chase will potentially be on consistently this season. Very excited to have Chase on, and his breadth of knowledge about basically nothing but also everything at once. It's really awesome. Basically, going to touch on everything without touching on anything at all. I can't wait to see more from Chase. Chase, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any final words? I feel like I shouldn't cut you off.
No, I'm excited to be here. Can't wait for a long, great football season. Love football. It's been a long wait. Excited to get into it this weekend. If you ever, I guess for the few viewers that may see this, I'll be at hopefully every Iowa game this year.
Yeah, get some pictures. Hey,
yeah, hey.
We'll throw everyone's Twitter on there, and we'll get everyone will be taking pictures, tagging Chase Malloy, check this fucking clown out.
Yeah,
no,
I'll be in. Go ahead.
No, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, no, we're ready.
Okay, he doesn't have shit to say. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We're gonna be back after. Yes, Chase. We'll see you just probably next week. We'll be back after a short break and this quick little ad read, and we're gonna be back with our Texas correspondent to break down maybe some more NFL news and his thoughts on the 12-team college football playoff. We'll be right back after this. Fuck, I knew I was forgetting something. Joey's not here. Joey's going to be our main betting correspondent, but Chase, we will probably include Chase's picks every single week. We might be doing maybe a DraftKings thing, potentially. Who knows? It's in the works. I got a guy working on that, an insider, a know-it-all, if you will. Chase's picks will be available every week if you want to tail him. My picks might be available. You got to do the exact opposite of tailing me, but either way, cut the commercial.
This episode of Marv on Air is brought to you by Poncheros. If you love football and you love burritos, you'll love Poncheros. Poncheros is the perfect tailgate snack, whether at the big game or chilling at home. Poncheros has you covered. Head on down to Poncheros and grab your burrito to make your day and football season better. My go-to is double chicken, but you can customize your burrito however you feel fit. Extra queso? Poncheros has it. Salsa? You got it. Want your burrito double wrapped? That is no problem. That's the beauty of Poncheros. It's your burrito, your way. So head on down to Poncheros and get your burrito today. Now, here's Chief State of Texas correspondent, Hunter Leisenring.
Joey, don't you triple chicken that shit? Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty good ad read.
That was fucking unbelievable.
That was
That was really
really good,
good. All right, thank you, Redden, for that wonderful message. Shout out Poncheros, one of the best burrito chains stationed out of Iowa City. So shout out to them, keeping Iowa relevant. What you're about to see is a 15, probably less than that, second clip from Hunter's bit. We're scrapping everything he had to say because of his audio. Give it a listen.
You know, UT might do anything, or they might do something, or they'll do nothing. You know, first season being in the SEC, this could get really, really hairy for these teams.
So obviously we weren't going to put you through that. That was kind of really not fun for us either. So I just decided we're not going to have him stay on this episode. Chase had a lot of fun things to say, obviously. Next week, we will be back with more NFL, more of Joey's main topic of interest there. And then Redden will be kind of our college football guy. We're going to stay in both worlds. Don't worry. Don't go anywhere if you joined us for the college football talk. We will be staying relevant in both. But obviously next week, with 7 hours of commercial-free football coming back on Sunday, we got to talk NFL. We got a lot of things going on right now that are definitely not newsworthy, but are certainly keeping the ball moving, and we're going to touch on those as well as our predictions for divisions, for games coming up, win totals. It's going to be a fun episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, share. It means more than you know to us, especially those two. They're the degenerates. We need to keep them happy. And we cannot wait to see you guys next week. Redden, will you do me the honors of closing out episode 1 of Marv on Air?
Deuces.